First, clean the outside of the window. Before you cut the window out, make sure the tint is laying on the right side. The clear liner should be facing you, and you can check this by putting your knife in between the tint and the clear layer. I'm just using a scrap piece of tint that I had saved, so that's why it looks like this. The bottom of the tint already has a straight edge, so I'm just going to line the bottom of the tint with the bottom of the window. That way I don't have to do any cutting on the bottom. Squeegee to lock the film so it won't move. Make sure you have a fresh blade in your knife. And now I'm going to cut along the edges here while using my fingers as a guide, so the knife is following the path of my fingers as I cut. And I'm just letting the knife glide along the edges here, but my knife blade is cutting on the glass, not on the window frame. It's just using the window frame and my fingers as a guide. And notice how gently I'm tearing the tint away while my finger is gently holding the tint down. And then make a cut up here. And now I'm going to cut along the edges here while using my fingers as a guide, so the knife is following the path of my fingers as I cut. And here again, I gently tear the tint away. And this is the last side I need to cut. Notice I'm using my thumb as a guide here to help me cut. Now I'm going to round this little corner off. And here I'm putting my finger in to guide me and let my knife follow this curve and gently tear it off. And you can see I need to clean this cut up a little bit, so I'll give it a little trim. Now I'm double checking all the corners, making sure everything is nicely matched with the window. Down here on this corner, I'm going to trim this little tiny piece to straighten it out, just a smidge. Just a smidge, like that. Now it's time to clean the inside. If your windows are really dirty, use a razor blade first, then use a regular squeegee to clean it a second time. If you do use a razor blade, you want to make sure you don't cut any of the rubber trimming. Make sure you get a tool like this. This is important because you want to stick this in between these gaskets. Like, see how I'm pulling it back? It's slipping. It's all the way inside. So when you clean, you want to make sure you get a tool like this that can get in between these gaskets and get all the way down in there, all around, at the bottom too, the top, everywhere. Now it's time to actually install the tint. So wet the inside of the window really good. Then take your knife and peel off the front layer of plastic while spraying down the tint. And when you're doing this, you want to place the tint on the inside of the window as quickly and carefully as you can because you don't want any dust floating around in the air to get on the tint, and you don't want to crease it, so you must be gentle with it. Don't be too rough with the tint or you might crease it. Take your time on this part. This is one of the most important parts that you need to take your time with when putting the tint in the proper place. I'm re-wetting it here so the tint has more lubrication to move smoothly. Now I'm gently placing the tint where I want it, and notice I'm only putting my fingers on the tint that's laying flat on the glass already, and positioning it by sliding it over so it will lay flat and there are no gaps or spaces anywhere on the window. Here, I'm tucking it in the bottom of the rubber seal. And now I can start squeegeeing it out after it's been positioned perfectly with no gaps or spaces showing. So I just tucked it down here, and there's no gaps on the side either. That's why you want a tool like this, so you can get in the edges. There's no gaps all along here. See that? Now you can start squeegeeing it out. You want to squeegee until you don't see any more bubbles or moisture moving in the tint. See, I have one tiny finger up there at the bottom, so I'm going to have to get the heat gun and heat this out. Okay, so here's the finger. Put the heat gun on high and don't hold it on the finger for more than a couple of seconds. You can burn the interior of your car if you hold it in one place for too long. This finger is still popping up a little bit, so I'm going to put some heat on the outside. You never want to put too much heat on the inside because this could burn up. So you also want to keep the heat gun moving. You never want to keep it still. And as you can see, it's all finished. So this is what the window looks like.